Overflows.
Knowing who am I is the beginning. A spiritual journey begins with knowing oneself. The famous statement is, "Who am I?" This is the process to know oneself. Jiddu Krishnamurti told his disciples, inner journey begins with this. So did Raman told his disciples this as a beginning. Unless you know who am I, you cannot know the other. Who am I is the inner wisdom that will help you to know the one standing in front of you. In the absence, you will simply judge the other with your own criteria. Judgment is a false assessment of the other. Indeed, there are no specific criteria for judging. One who does not have any inner wisdom will use different criteria to judge the other. And one who has inner wisdom will know through this consciousness. A musician will not be able to recognize another master musician unless he understands music himself. This world of duality is like a large prison where everyone is living in his own individual self-created prison cells. Only when the inner conflict, chaos and misery reaches enormous proportions that he sees a dawn ray of light entering the dark caves of ignorance, and a new journey begins. Then he begins to see, who am I? This journey begins with who am I? Your being is like an onion. Can you define an onion? Onion is a bulb that grows below the surface. It comes in the category of vegetable. Its structure is unique. Unlike other vegetables, it has nothing inside, seed or pulp or anything else of the like. It is a bulb with layers upon layers. You go on removing the layers one by one. In the end, at the center of the bulb, you will not find anything but a space. This is the reason being is considered like an onion. Who am I is the technique of removing the layers that hide inner space. Like Krishna and Arjun, master and disciple both are contemporary to one another. But there is a significant difference between disciple and master's inner states. It is like two persons meeting on a crossroad, but both are facing opposite directions. One is coming out of the university campus as a professor, and the other is entering the university campus to register in the master's program. Each individual has form and formless. Form is visible while the formless is not visible. Both are like inner and outer layers of the being. Ego only sees the form, the outer dimension. Indeed, we see things as we are. That is the criteria available to us. It is said, you cannot judge the contents from the envelope. Indeed, your life is a prison wherein you are within the self-created cell of ignorance and egocentric identities. When the inner conflict and chaos reaches enormous proportions, and it is difficult for humankind to come out of such a state on one's own, the absolute consciousness assumes human form. However, none has understood the essence of this message. Christians are waiting for coming back of Jesus. Hindus keep on remembering the words of Krishna for the destruction of the wicked, for the protection of the sage, and for establishment of righteousness I rise from age to age. Such statements are most misunderstood. I am reminded of an anecdote from the life of Sai of Shirdi. Sai used to live in the mosque. he had a disciple living nearly 3 miles from the mosque. This disciple used to bring food for Sai every day and will wait to serve the meals to the master. After Sai had taken the meal, he would rush back to his place and have his meals. But he used to take meals only once, that too before sunset. Quite often it used to happen Sai is surrounded by disciples and he will have to wait until he serves the master until the master is alone to serve him meals. This used to cause unnecessary delays, and quite often he will return home after sunset and have to miss the meal that day. Noticing this, one day Sai told the disciple, "Tomorrow you don't come. Instead he will come. Sai will come to his place for meals." This made the disciple very happy. Next day he cleaned the place thoroughly, prepared special meals as Sai was coming to his place. After the meals were ready, and while he was waiting for Sai, a dog came and sat at the door waiting for some food. Sai did not come, instead the dog came. The disciple did not like the dog sitting at the door, so he hid the dog. Dog went away. He washed the entrance again and waited for Sai. When until late the master did not come, he rushed with the food to the mosque. On reaching, he complained lovingly that he kept waiting for him, so he had to rush finally. At this, Sai told the disciple that I came and you hit me with a stick. The disciple then remembered that he had hit the dog, not the master. At this, Sai told, during the hot summer afternoon, there was no other vehicle for Sai to manifest his consciousness and visit. You think you are feeding the master. Feeding the one who is in need is serving the God. At times, master and the awakened ones use other bodies. In most cases, the technique of astral travel is used. The physical body remains at one place while his second body travels. Shankar used this technique when he defeated the learned scholar of his time in debate, Mandan. Then Mandan's wife told Shankar, Mandan is partly defeated. Mandan cannot be defeated until he defeats her in debate as well. In Hindu tradition, husband and wife are like two halves put together as one. When Mandan was defeated by Shankar, then Ubhay Bharti, wife of Mandan, asked questions about family life and about the science of sex. She knew Shankar was recluse who had not entered the family life. This is the tradition, and when now I am talking about the science of sex or its deeper insights, fingers are raised. Ubhay Bharti, in the debate among the scholars, she asked Shankar the questions about family life. There are many dimensions of it and the science of sex. Then Shankar has to enter the body of a king who was dying to be able to answer those questions. Ubhay Bharti's questions are given in an excerpt from the traditional biography of Adi Shankar. Discuss with me the science and the art of love between sexes. Kusumastra Shastram. Enumerate its form and expressions. What is its nature and what are its centers? How does it vary in sexes during the bright and dark nights? The sexual state or the energy moves differently during the full moon and during the bright and the dark fortnights. What are its manifestations in man and woman the entire science of sex. How deep it is, you cannot understand it unless you go into it. Shankar never actually answered these questions. This later excerpt from the biography says that when Shankar returned back for the debate, Ubhay Bharati, who is considered the Advaitin to be an incarnation of Saraswati, has left the world on his divine abode. However, Shankar's insights on this subject are very significant. A part of this was used by Vatsayan in Kama Sutra. As these insights are of an enlightened one who had experimented the art and science of sex as a spiritual scientist, and this forms the important part of the biography. Madhavira Shankar Digvijay relates that while Shankar inhabits the body of the king King Anurka, he composes a work on calm, the science of sex. So when he entered the body of the king, he entered and experimented various aspects. I can go on narrating many anecdotes how masters have used the techniques to help the seekers and disciples. Coming back to the anecdote, hearing this from the master, the disciple asked Sai to give him another chance and assured that this time he will recognize. Next day, the disciple once again thoroughly cleaned the place, prepared the meals, and having finished preparing the meals, he waited. This time he was waiting either the master will come or the dog will come, because master said that yesterday he came as a dog. Neither of the two came. Instead, a leper who suffers from leprosy came. The leper asked for food, but the disciple did not give him food and chased him, saying that he had cleaned the place for the master and now he had to clean the place once again. So he waited for the master or the dog. But when none came, he rushed with the food for the master to the mosque. Once again he complained that neither he, the master, nor the dog came. Master responded, "But I came." This time the disciple said, "Only a leper came." At this, master said, "That was the only vehicle available for me to reach to your place in my formless existence." Such is the situation, and your so-called religious ones. Remember, unless inner vision opens and you have tasted your innerness or realized your formless existence, you cannot recognize the one in front of you. For this, you have to come out of your prison cell. As a result, Christians are waiting for Jesus to return. So too, Hindus cannot know who the awakened one is. Our vision is only of the outer. Intuition is the inner eye that helps to see the formless existence behind the form. Cannot see the consciousness manifesting through the words. From time to time, when human consciousness attains to awakening or Buddha consciousness, it is the assurance of the promise of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Whenever there is decline in righteousness, for the destruction of the wicked, for the establishment of righteousness, and for the protection of the sage, and for the establishment of righteousness, I rise from age to age.